Imagine a time when the very skies obeyed a man's command, where fire fell from heaven and a prophet stood alone against a nation. This is the story of Elijah, a man who walked with God and faced kings, false prophets, and his own doubts. Join me as we journey through the life of one of the most powerful and passionate prophets in the Bible. In the time of ancient Israel, during the reign of King Ahab and his notorious queen Jezebel, the land was gripped by idolatry and moral decay. The people had turned their hearts from the Lord to worship Baal, a pagan deity. Amid this spiritual darkness, God raised up a prophet named Elijah. Elijah's story begins in 1 Kings 17, when he boldly strides into the royal palace and delivers a shocking prophecy to King Ahab. As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years, except at my word. With these words, Elijah declared a drought that would last for 3.5 years, a direct challenge to Baal, who was supposed to be the god of rain and fertility. After delivering this message, Elijah was instructed by God to hide in the Kerith ravine, east of the Jordan. There, he drank from a brook and was miraculously fed by ravens who brought him bread and meat every morning and evening. This period of seclusion and dependence on God prepared Elijah for the immense tasks ahead. When the brook eventually dried up due to the drought, God sent Elijah to the town of Zarephath, to a widow and her son who were on the brink of starvation. Elijah asked the widow to bake him a small loaf of bread with the last of her flour and oil, promising that her supplies would not run out until the drought ended. True to God's word, the jar of flour was not used up, and the jug of oil did not run dry. During his stay, Elijah also performed a great miracle by raising the widow's son from the dead, demonstrating God's power over life and death. The climax of Elijah's ministry came when God commanded him to confront King Ahab and the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. In one of the most dramatic showdowns in the Bible, Elijah challenged 450 prophets of Baal to a contest. They would each prepare a bull for sacrifice and call upon their respective gods. The God who answered by fire would be the true God. From morning till noon, the prophets of Baal called upon their God, but there was no response. They danced, shouted, and even slashed themselves with swords and spears, but still, nothing happened. Elijah then repaired the Lord's altar, which had been torn down, and prepared his sacrifice. He dug a trench around the altar and had it filled with water, soaking the wood and the offering. At the time of the evening sacrifice, Elijah stepped forward and prayed, "Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." Fire fell from heaven, consuming the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench. The people fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" Elijah then commanded that the prophets of Baal be seized and executed at the Kishon Valley. Following this victory, Elijah prayed earnestly for rain, and a small cloud appeared, eventually turning into a heavy rainstorm, breaking the 3.5-year drought. However, Elijah's triumph was short-lived. Queen Jezebel, enraged by the death of her prophets, vowed to kill Elijah. Fearing for his life, Elijah fled into the wilderness, where he sank into deep despair, feeling utterly alone and despondent. In his darkest moment, under a broom tree, Elijah prayed that he might die. But God had not abandoned him. An angel provided him with food and water, strengthening him for a 40-day journey to Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. There, in a cave, Elijah experienced a profound encounter with God. First came a powerful wind, then an earthquake, and finally, a fire. But the Lord was not in any of these. After the fire came a gentle whisper, and in that whisper, God spoke to Elijah, assuring him of his presence and giving him a renewed mission. God instructed Elijah to anoint new leaders who would continue the fight against idolatry. Elijah set out to find Elisha, who immediately left his farming to follow and serve him. Elijah's earthly journey ended in a blaze of glory. As he and Elisha walked together, a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and separated the two of them, and Elijah was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. His mantle, a symbol of his prophetic authority, fell to Elisha, who would continue his work.